In 1873, the B&O Railroad opened up a train station right here in Washington Grove. Back then, people came here to escape the hot and humid summers of Washington, D.C. What began as a summer retreat has grown into a vibrant year-round community. Claire Kavicki, architectural historian and resident of Washington Grove, takes us on a tour of this town within a forest.
A committee of Methodists from Washington set out to find a site for their camp meeting, and they found a 200-acre property with a mature grove of trees. It was high in elevation, it was perfect for a summer retreat. And it was here that they set up the tabernacle. And the tabernacle was an open-air pavilion, sort of a rustic big top, and it could seat 500 people. Around the tabernacle, campgoers set up tents, and they were on avenues radiating from the tabernacle.
Back then, Washington Grove was a summer retreat, used a few weeks out of the year. Over time, the structures became more permanent.
After the first few years, the campgoers began building small cottages to replace the tents, and they built them on the tent lots. So they're very small, very close together. They're small-scale cottages, and these first cottages were about 14 feet wide and 20 to 30 feet long. They were built in the Gothic Revival style, patterned after church architecture. They have Gothic Revival architecture has very steep roofs, very pointed windows, and also finials that look like steeples. And each house has its own character. They each have their own pattern of trim or barge board, and they each have their own individuality.
As Washington Grove became more popular, larger cottages situated on more land were built further out from the tabernacle area.
By the early 1880s, campgoers began building larger scale houses on larger lots, such as this one here. Their lots in this part of town are 50 feet wide by 150 feet long, and the houses were still being built in the Gothic Revival style. The houses face on walkways with vehicular roads behind the houses, and it was really a pedestrian community. People went from the train to their house, and they walked from their house to the tabernacle, and that character is still remained today. By 1901, there was need for an indoor meeting space. The assembly hall was constructed, and it served as a chapel. And it also was a place for lectures and concerts. By this time, Washington Grove was on the Chautauqua circuit, and there was great interest and popularity in educational entertainment.
The last of the camp meetings were held in the 1920s. By this time, the community had grown into a year-round place to live. In 1937, the Camp Meeting Association, which had managed the community thus far, disbanded, and the town of Washington Grove was incorporated. Today, it is a place that still reminds us of its early beginnings.
Trees were an important part of Washington Grove from the beginning. The Methodists had restrictions to protect the trees, and the campgoers had to build their cottages in and amongst the trees. Today, over half of the town is forest preserve and parkland.
Today, the layout of this town within a forest is one thing that draws people to live here. The other is the community that one finds.
There's a real community spirit in Washington Grove that draws people here. We celebrate holidays together, and we have Labor Day races and 4th of July parade, and people join together and go to concerts at the town hall. And I love living in a community where we can walk to events, and I also love knowing my neighbors and feeling a part of the community.